Alright, so it's been around 24 hours since the Trickster came out, and I thought I would share my thoughts on the all-kill chapter killer. Okay, so firstly, I know I am being messaged and commented by people who are like, you aren't giving this killer a chance. I even gifted the DLC to a reviewer just to prove a point of how frustrating and incredibly weak this killer is. So let's take a look at why I think he is the worst killer in the game. So the first thing I thought of was, what is his purpose? People know I'm not a huge fan of his look, things like that, the cosmetics, but that's irrelevant. Regardless of how he looks, the only thing that matters is how he plays in the game. He is a killer that is going up against 4 survivors, and ultimately he has to have some powers and he has to be feared. His lore and backstory are great, by the way. I cannot stress this enough. I was really intrigued by this and read it all and found it interesting. However, when I say his purpose, I mean ultimately a killer is playing to get kills, right? If you're not playing for kills and you want a fun character, then please comment below and tell me what sort of fun you like to have as a killer. Because quite frankly, Survivor mains, they see this as a bully simulator chapter. It's all over the forums, all over social media groups. Survivors are commenting saying, oh, he's fun to play against, and a few lines down you see them saying, we played one good Trickster out of 10. Let me tell you, survivors will find that fun. That's what it's about. Some survivors that do the objective have a little bit of a chase and get the hell out of there. What could be more fun when that chase involves a killer who isn't any sort of threat? I said it previously and will say it again, this killer needs to hit you 8 times with a knife to get an injured state, and then another 8 times to get a dying state. Now look at the map. How many maps will give you enough dead space to do that and not have structures to counter these hits? Let me tell you, there is one Macmillan State map. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's dead zone galore, but even that still has trees and rocks to protect the survivors. When I ask what is the killer's purpose, I also want the devs to release killers that will make me want to play them. I said previously, if I wanted to play a range killer, why would I not play a Huntress or Deathslinger who are much more powerful than this killer? Today, after being humbled so many times by survivors, I reverted back to Freddy for a game. And one good thing that Trickster has managed to do is he's managed to make me appreciate the other killers much more. This shouldn't be the case. I want to be excited for new chapters. I want to try out new killers. I don't want to feel like a helpless baby and basically being a survivor's sex toy during a trial, because that's what it felt like. I've been quite vocal and said numerous times, name me a worse killer. People have come to me and countered with the Trapper, Demogorgon or Plague. I mean, firstly, in my opinion, all those killers are stronger than this killer. Basically, this is how I see it. Starting a trial with a Trapper or Demogorgon is like sending someone to battle with a BB gun. However, the Trickster is like sending someone to battle with a baby rattle. He is simply that underwhelming. Now, I've sat and thought about it and been like, Jay, you're trash with projectile killers, and I am. I admit it, I'm not a fan. But I'm seeing people who main Huntress or play often with the likes of Deathslinger saying this killer is trash too. People will say, oh, you haven't given him a chance and you'll need to learn him. So here is what I have to say about that. I'm happy to put the time and effort into learning and getting good with someone, but let's look at the killer list. Why would I put time and effort into a killer who is extremely weak when I can put the same effort into, say, a nurse or Billy and get good with them? I know the end results, because if you see someone that has practiced with nurse, then they're going to be going into trial with some sort of level footing against good survivors. Why would I put the time and effort, which, to be quite frank, I don't play this professionally, I don't have thousands of hours to waste, I have a job and I play this game for fun, and I do make videos about it in my spare time. I don't expect to be known as a great player, so why am I wasting my time playing as a killer that is going to get absolutely whooped by decent survivors? Even if I put all the time and effort in, I'll put the time and effort into a decent killer instead. Again, it's a disappointing chapter for me, but this is just not about me, I get it. I'm not that entitled to think that devs should cater for me. It's just frustrating that I'm constantly hyped about new chapters because I want to play different killers. I just don't want to feel powerless going into trials. I want a chance of doing something. And you know what, I don't even care if I get 4 kills. I've had recent games where I've had 1 kill. You know what, I've been happy with that. I've held my own against decent teams, but this killer won't allow people to do that. Let me get one thing straight, I've seen games of people getting 4Ks, and honestly, hats off to these people. They're obviously extremely skilled killers, but I've watched some survivors do some awful things in these games as well, and fair play for the killer for capitalising, but holy shit man, This killer relies on absolute potato plays to get anything. I've been looped around a fucking tyre in a cinder block on Badhams for an eternity. Killer is simply hopeless. Now I won't for one moment think that this is going to be him forever. The devs have changed killers before, they've nerfed them, they've buffed them, they've tweaked them, and I think they'll end up doing the same for this killer eventually. It's only small tweaks that need changing. But I think every YouTuber has made some excellent suggestions, and even people in the forums and social media. It's just so disappointing that actually the devs put a PTB out and then they don't listen to the feedback. I'm convinced more than ever that the PTB is purely there for commercial point of view. What better way to build a hype than to give a few days of publicity and gameplay for all the big content creators to showcase their new chapter before the big unveil. That's all it can be, because they certainly don't listen to the feedback. I understand the devs have their own minds and they probably want to do things their way, so I get it, but it definitely seems a strange way to go about it. So another disappointing chapter, and I've said it before, but the last chapter I remember that was good was, in my opinion, the Silent Hill chapter. Other chapters after, and some even before it, have been so lackluster, and frustrating thing is, I get to see people's theories, people's chapter designs. The horror industry has so many, and I mean so many avenues to tap into for this game, that there just seems a lack of creativity sometimes with both the chapters and the killer powers. So come on Behaviour, you have the 5th anniversary coming up. Let's hope they really pull something out of the bag. I don't want a killer that's too powerful. I want a killer though that feels like I'm not joining the war with a BB gun. I feel that the devs are a bit terrified of releasing powerful killers, and people have come up with a lot of theories about this. But eventually you're not going to have any killers playing the game, or as some content creators put it, especially when talking about MMR, everyone will be playing the same usual killers, and this is because you aren't making the killers viable enough. One thing I will say is the only good thing that's come out this chapter, I'll finish on a positive, is 2 of the killer perks. I can see me using some of them with other killers. That's been about the only positive. I know people are going to come at me and be like entitled killer main or twat or whatever you want to call me, and it might come across like that, but I am a killer main who just wants to play with new killers that I feel will give me a chance in game. Because to put it quite frankly, I've literally been playing a bully simulator the last couple of days using this Trickster, and regardless of people telling me he is fun, it's certainly been anything but fun for me. As always guys, feel free to give me your thoughts below and let's discuss this. Comment if you actually truly believe there are worse killers out there than the Trickster, and let's see. So have a good night guys, and see you all in the next video.